Hey everybody, before starting this week's episode, we wanted to stop and talk a little bit about the sponsor of our episodes, and that is Expedition Roasters, the artisanal roasters of pop culture inspired coffees.
You know, in these stressful times where we can't go to the parks and experience all of our favorite things and get those wonderful smells, it's nice to have a bit of that with us here at home, and you can definitely have that with Expedition Roasters.
Yeah, and there's a myriad of flavors that you could choose from depending on kind of what you want to reminisce about in a certain way. I mean, you could easily choose Route 66 Tire Fix, which is their morning blend coffee, which, you know, obviously is reminiscent of Cars.
Yes.
So imagine walking into Cars Land, the asphalt fresh with the water that is evaporating after they cleaned off the entire area, fresh in the morning. You just walked in the gates, something like that. Or you could do Fortune and Glory, which is their Indiana Jones inspired coffee, which is bourbon streusel.
That's so good.
So,
but my favorite is Happily Never After.
Yes, your favorite is Happily Never After, and I have to say that one of my favorites is the Wonderland Coffee Crumb Cake.
That's
so
good.
and for all you coffee drinkers out there, it is such a well-balanced mix of flavor and the actual coffee flavor.
And the bags are super pretty.
Yeah, the artwork on the bags are pretty incredible, and you could actually buy the art on the website itself too.
Yeah.
From the actual bags.
Which you should, because it's so cool.
Yes. So if you find yourself needing a little bit of a pick-me-up, but you want to reminisce a little bit about the parks, I would highly suggest checking out Expedition Roasters, heading over to expeditionroasters.com and purchasing some coffee from them. You could definitely use our coupon code for your first time purchasing coffee, which is a Duo15 at checkout. And remember, brew your happy place. Expedition Roasters, an adventure in every bag.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Gabe.
And we are
the Theme Park Duo. Thanks for tuning into another episode. On today's episode, we're going to be going to a little bit more of a serious conversation. It's the thing that has been really dancing around our podcast for a while that we really haven't wanted to pay too much attention to, but because of the nature of the environment that we're in right now, I think it's about time that we start talking about it. And to no surprise, that is COVID-19 and the themed entertainment world. And, you know, theme parks are starting to plan on reopening, so we figured it's about time to kind of have that conversation. So we're going to be talking about that today. If you guys want to skip this episode because you just don't want to listen to, you know, what you're living, there's no hard feelings there.
Yeah, it's fine. Just go leave us a 5-star written review instead.
Yes. Nice segue.
Yeah.
Which, if you haven't, make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star written review, because it is a free way to support the show, and it helps us get higher understandings and makes it easier for people to find us and enjoy us like you are right now.
Well, unless you're not, because you
tuned
stopped
out after what I had just said.
Yeah,
that makes plenty of sense.
Because you literally told them not to listen.
Yeah, don't listen ever. Just stop listening. Can you unsubscribe? That would be fantastic.
But please keep leaving those 5-star written reviews.
But then resubscribe after the episode.
Yeah.
That you're not listening to? I'm thoroughly confused already.
They've already stopped listening by now.
I would hope so, because I am thoroughly confusing. So we're going to be talking a little bit about COVID-19 today and the situation that we're in. From the get-go, we want to make sure that you guys know that we're basically basing our information off of CDC guidelines, and that's kind of what we're basing our personal opinions off of. You know, we are trusting the professionals and what they do and what they've studied and what they do on a daily basis. So, you know, our opinions are solely based off of these professionals' opinions. I know that there's a lot of people out there right now who don't necessarily trust them or trust the government. I mean, there's a lot of crap going on right now.
Yeah.
So, if that's something that may trigger you based on kind of our opinions being based off of that, then just know going forward that is kind of the reason why we're talking the way we're talking.
Yeah.
Just to give you a preface, just in case you may be somebody who doesn't believe that or something. So, I mean, who knows? I have no idea. So I don't want to get into the meat of the episode and somebody listening and all of a sudden
They're offended.
Yeah. Because we're going off of professionals' opinions.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird in and out of itself. But that's the world we live in. I have to do that. So that's the way we're going with this episode, because that's what we are basing our opinions off of.
Yep.
So moving forward, recently in Florida, Universal Orlando Resort submitted their plans to reopen the park and has already actually started phased reopenings of City Walk. Then Disney Springs started to do a phased reopening. As of right now, as of this recording, I don't believe that Walt Disney World has submitted plans for a phased reopening. And then other parks have also submitted plans. I believe Legoland in Florida has submitted plans. And some of the parks are actually just opening, like Fun Spot, I think in Kissimmee, I might be wrong, has actually just opened.
They've
opened,
no
period.
Safety precautions or anything?
Theirs is masks are not mandatory but encouraged.
Okay.
And then Gatorland, I believe, has opened as well, and they have
This is funny.
They have skunk ape a social distancing skunk ape character that they've created in order to encourage people to stay socially distant away from each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fun way of actually incorporating today's unfortunate circumstances into their entertainment at their park.
Yeah.
I mean, the only issue
you can't take a picture with
you can't take a picture with you would have to take a socially distant picture with
him in like the background.
Yeah. Like him like approaching you like as if Sasquatch would really be doing that.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, a lot of places in Florida right now seem to be kind of making those next steps to open. And I think the conversation that we're going to be having today is really about what that world looks like.
Yeah.
Is it a feasible world? What things are changing? And kind of just a very fluid conversation that we can have about, the next steps out here in California. Because we don't live in Florida. We live in California.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to be really interesting. How do you think things are going to go moving forward?
I think it's hard to say. I think that people will follow the guidelines because they have to. I think that if the parks do everything right on their end and, put a cap on as many people that can come in a day, enforce masks, enforce people social distancing, even in like shows or whatever, like blocking off rows and blocking off seats so that people have to sit far away from each other, taking away tables at seating areas so that the tables are more spread out. I feel like if the parks do everything that they can possibly do to make things safer, then that's a good step moving forward, but it's still up to park attendees to do their part also. And I think it's going to be a personal preference for everyone else whether they want to risk it in going or not, because I mean, the fact is it's a risk. Even with all the safety precautions put in, it is a risk going to a park. It's riskier than staying home and being as safe as you possibly can be. So it's going to be up to the individual, person whether or not they feel like going to a park right now is worth it. And a lot of people will. But
yeah, and to put it this way, I mean, like it's a risk to go to a park and not get sick.
Period. Yeah.
Before any of this.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a very good chance of you going to Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, getting a cold or flu, and after having visited because of stuff that you came in contact with.
Even the flights.
Yeah, even the flight to get to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
There's always a chance of you getting sick, and I think now because of the unprecedented nature of COVID-19, I think those risks now are becoming a little bit more risky because it's really unpredictable in how it affects people. So when it comes down to like what Nikki said, kind of like the basics of what parks can do, I think all of those basics are based off of what the CDC guidelines are, and the CDC is the Centers of Disease Control Prevention, because they've released some kind of basic knowledge on how it spreads and what you can do to avoid getting it.
Yeah.
But if you kind of look at all this information, you know, it goes against everything that you would associate with theme parks and themed entertainment in any capacity. So based on the CDC website, it says there's no current vaccine to prevent coronavirus disease of 2019. The best way to prevent illness is to avoid being exposed to the virus, obviously. The virus thought to mainly spread from person to person between people who are in close contact with one another within 6 feet through respiratory droplets produced when infected people cough, sneeze, or talk. These droplets can land in the mouth or noses of people who are nearby, possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Some recent studies have suggested that COVID-19 may be spread by people who are not showing symptoms. So that's the asymptomatic people that you've been hearing a lot about. Then it says everybody, which by the way, if you noticed, they updated this because now it no longer says like surfaces that people have touched.
Yeah.
Because I think that is now something that they've realized isn't as big of a problem as we initially thought.
Yeah.
Where a lot of other diseases and issues that we've had in the past have been able to be spread through surfaces. This one's not that big of a deal when it comes to that. So when I hear like theme parks going, we're going to wipe down everything.
I mean, it's
a good preventative
still
thing, but it is partially COVID theater, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So, you know, making it feel like,
It's a false
really,
sense of security.
just like security in general is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then they move on to what everybody should do in order to, you know, prevent themselves from getting it. And it says, wash your hands often. Wash your hands often with soap and wash for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not readily available, use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol, which, by the way, you could make your own hand sanitizer if you're unable to purchase hand sanitizer wherever you are at. We actually made our own.
We did. We haven't used it yet because we were able to purchase it.
Yeah.
But it's our backup hand sanitizer.
Exactly. So basically what we did is we bought like 50% alcohol and then
aloe. Oh, never mind. I jumped ahead.
Yes.
Sorry.
50% alcohol, put a whole bunch of salt into it, and that basically soaks up all the water and separates the alcohol from the water. And you're able to take out all the alcohol, and that leaves just alcohol, no water, and it's 100%.
Yeah.
And so you can mix that with what Nikki jumped in and said is aloe, because the aloe vera is in a lot of hand sanitizers. And then if you want to, you could add some scented oils in order to make it smell different, because I guarantee you that 100% alcohol and aloe vera don't smell great mixed together. Just being 100% honest, because we did it. And then it says also avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Avoid close contact. Avoid close contact with people who are sick, even inside your home. If possible, maintain 6 feet between the people who are sick and other household members. Put distance between yourself and other people outside of your home. Remember that some people without symptoms may be able to spread the virus. Stay at least 6 feet away from people, which is also about 2 arms lengths. Do not gather in groups, which is theme parks.
Yep.
Stay out of crowded places and avoid mass gatherings, which is theme parks.
Yep.
Keep distance from others, and especially important for people who are higher risk of getting sick. Cover your mouth and nose with a cloth face covering when around others. So this is like I've seen this debate online so often, people saying that masks do nothing. And that's simply not true based on the scientific facts of how this thing spreads.
Yeah.
You know, masks help. And it isn't like I'm scared of getting sick. It's you could potentially have it, you don't know it, and you could get other people sick. So it's actually keeping other people safe just in case.
Yeah, it's keeping yourself safe, and if you don't care about yourself, then chances are you're not being that safe. So maybe you have it and are asymptomatic. Don't be a jerk. Don't spread it to other people. Wear a mask.
Yeah, just straight up wear a mask.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, like literally like 15 minutes before we started recording, I saw a post on Twitter that basically was some guy saying, hey, I went to go visit Disney Springs because I want to see what the new normal was, and I'm happy to report that about 85% of people are wearing a mask. And that, to me, was really annoying because it's like, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
15% of people are not wearing masks, and those 15% of people can cause bigger problems.
Yeah.
Like, it spreads so easily. And I made a joke and I posted on Twitter. I said that saying 85% of people who are wearing masks is like saying the same thing as, oh, he pulled out 85% of the way.
Yeah.
It's the 15% that's important. Come on, gotta focus on that. Like, and in all honesty, like, you gotta enforce it. Like, if you're going to enforce it, enforce it. If you're not going to enforce it, then just let people be and live their life then. Because if you're gonna say you're gonna enforce it and not do anything,
Yeah.
it's just it's annoying to the people who are actually counting on you to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so the rest of the CDC stuff is like talking about covering your mouth, nose, and with a face cloth. It says everyone should wear a cloth face covering when they have to go out in public, for example, to the grocery store or to pick up other necessities. Cloth face covering should not be placed on young children under 2, which is fine. The cloth face cover is meant to protect others in case you are infected. Do not use a face mask meant for healthcare workers. Continue to keep around 6 feet away from each other. And then it kind of continues and continues and continues. But,
Yeah.
you know, that one thing at the end is concerning to me because I feel like people might hang on to it. Is kids 2 and younger shouldn't be wearing a face mask.
Yeah.
A lot of kids who are 2 and younger go to theme parks.
And that's my main thing. It's like, and that's another thing. It's like people who don't wear masks. It's like, be respectful of the people who can't wear masks. Like kids 2 and younger. We have a 1.5-year-old. There's no way she's keeping a mask on her face. There's people.
We tried.
There's people with respiratory illnesses that cannot wear masks, and you know, it's being respectful towards them to wear a mask on your face for their sake. And you know, the argument will be made like, oh, people with respiratory illnesses shouldn't be going to theme parks. You know, and you know what, that might be true, but it's up to them. And as far as kids 2 and younger, so many families with kids 2 and younger want to go to theme parks, and it's up to the parents, you know, to make that choice for their kids. Personally, Gabe and I think that we wouldn't risk it.
We wouldn't take Aaron. No, we would not.
Yeah, we're not going to take Aaron for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
But that's our personal opinion. You know, I'm not going to make a choice for Aaron, for a little kid who can't make it for herself, you know, about going to a theme park and possibly exposing herself, even with all the safety regulations they're putting in, you know. And
but Mom, I Google searched it. I Google searched it. COVID-19 is just 5G. I Googled it.
Yeah.
That was Aaron.
That's a good Aaron impression.
She just went back to bed.
It's a good Aaron impersonation.
She was here for 2 seconds, took the mic away from me, and shouted her conspiracy theories.
So, you know, but that's another talking point on whether or not to take young kids. But it's the reason to wear a mask is not for it's not only for your sake, it's for everyone else's sake, and I think that's what people are forgetting.
Yeah, and it really concerns me when I see people on social media and on other platforms saying, oh, you're requiring masks for me to go and visit this location. Which, one, the response is, okay. Or the ones that concern me are, that's inhibiting my rights. Oh my God, I'm going to go without one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ultimate one is, well, my 5-year-old has a respiratory issue. Are you going to make her wear one? Maybe you should rethink your priorities.
Yeah, maybe rethink going.
If your kid has issues with respiratory.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't be bringing them to a place with higher risk of getting COVID,
which is a respiratory disease.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I know
it's mind-boggling that is the number one concern of people is, can I take my kid who has a problem that this could potentially make worse?
Yeah.
That for me is very hard to wrap my mind around, because I guarantee you if Erin had some type of respiratory problem,
yeah, no way,
hell no, I'm not taking her. Never in a million years.
We're saying hell no, and she's totally healthy.
She is the healthiest kid,
and we're still saying hell no
because it's the risk.
It's not worth it.
Why would I make that risk? I mean, like, it's literally like gambling.
Yeah.
It's gambling with your lives.
Is your Mickey pretzel that important to you? It's
yes,
like, come
it
on,
actually
people.
is. The Dole Whip.
Yeah.
The Dole Whip is worth it. The Dole Whip is worth a 30-minute wait. And it's also worth dying.
Do you really have to ride Transformers that bad?
Well, I don't think anybody's going to risk riding Transformers. I think they'll risk riding...
You're trying to think of Universal.
Hagrid's. I think they're gonna. I think
Hagrid's.
they'll risk writing Hagrid's or
Gringotts.
Spider-Man. No one's doing that.
Hey,
No one's
lay
doing
off
that.
Gringotts. I love it.
I know, but you're allowed to be wrong.
You're allowed to be a jerk.
I know, which I'm doing right now.
Yes,
Thank
you
very
are.
much.
You should wear a face mask. Maybe I won't be able to hear your sassy comments.
You'll still be able to do it because my sassy comments go through the threads.
Your sassy comments go through walls.
That's true.
Yeah.
They do. I yell them, and they
Yeah.
break down barriers.
Okay, let's get
Moving
back on track.
Yes, please.
Break down barriers?
Yeah, just like other
Okay,
things.
no, stop. Let's go back on track. This is getting bad.
Yes, very bad.
Headed nowhere
And,
good.
I mean, like, and then moving forward outside of just the normal theme park experiences, going into haunts. Haunts
Yeah.
are notorious for being unbelievably crowded, conga lining through really tight spaces, touching things, not touching things, monsters getting in your space, well within the 6-foot space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that, are a normal occurrence at a haunt that I don't see happening. And it's
Yeah.
actually shocking to me that, haunts are actually building and planning on happening. Which, I mean, if I'm a business, I'm planning on doing it. I have to move forward. That's a good plan. But
Yeah.
realistically, are haunts going to happen this year?
It's if they happen, they're gonna look very different, and I think it's all a numbers thing, really. It all depends on like the parks or the events asking themselves like, okay, what's the minimum number of people where we can make a profit and have this be worth it, and is that safe? And if that,
And then on top of that, it's the people's opinions of like, okay, I know that's how many they're allowing, but does that make me feel safe?
yeah, no, exactly. So I think it's all a numbers game, and if the numbers don't add up, if they need, like, I'm just going to throw out some random numbers. If they need 50,000 people to show up to make a profit, but only 25,000 showing up is safe, then they're not going to bother having it. You know what I mean? So I think it's all just a numbers game. And even if they have it, if they figure out a cap, where okay, this is a number we deem safe for people coming, it's still going to look way different with the type of scares they can do, all of the safety regulations that honestly are going to take you out of the mindset of being at a haunt. And I think even the question of, okay, well, everyone has to wear a face mask, but haunts are notorious for no masks allowed because they want to be able to differentiate between guests and actors. And so it just, I think haunts, it's a lot more gray areas than just regular theme parks opening up.
Yeah, no, there is a lot more gray area. I think you're 100% correct. I honestly, you kind of covered a lot of things there that I think are major concerns of mine.
Yeah.
Because even when you think about it, if you're trying to create an environment that is socially distanced and kind of creating an experience that is COVID-19 friendly, if you will.
Yeah.
Limited capacity, yeah, sure, that works. Making sure there's lines there's little markers in the line so that you don't cross it, so that there's distance between you and the next person. But it's that scare factor that's interesting, because monsters get in your face.
Yeah.
That's part of the scare, is getting close to you, going past that barrier that you normally have.
Yeah.
Which really sets people off. How can you effectively scare people when you don't have that ability to get close to them or jump near them or past them within 6 feet?
Yeah.
I think for me that is something that just is like the basis of what an event like either Scary Farm, Horror Nights, things like that are.
Yeah.
And it comes like, do we really want watered down experiences?
Yeah.
Is that what we're going towards at this point? Because if that were the reality of that, I would rather them not do it.
I'd rather wait a year.
I'd rather wait a year. I'd rather them not do events. Like Halloween Horror Nights 30 is this year.
Yeah.
That's a huge milestone for Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. And I had plans on going. Obviously those plans are on hold, or at least tentatively on hold.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, like, I don't know what's going to change that, but I don't want a watered down event. I'm not going to fly all the way across the country to go to an event that's watered down.
Yeah. So especially for Horror Nights 30, I'd rather wait a year and have the event that everyone wants, the event that Universal wants to put on, than have something that's less than it could be.
Also, what the fans deserve.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, and if we're going to be real here, at a certain point, it's about money.
Yeah.
It's about needing to have that money and that income, which sucks because that is the truth behind a lot of things. But I do think that when you are limited to what you're able to do at this point because of COVID-19, it becomes more about that money than it normally would.
Yeah. Isn't there also an issue with, like, I've talked to you about this before, about putting in place regulations for, like, caps for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, like if it was to be put on, because people have already bought tickets, but they're not dates specific.
Yeah, you had asked me because the ticket that I bought was a buy one get one.
Yeah.
But the tickets that I bought were not date specific. It was basically you buy a ticket, you get one free, and you choose the 2 days you want to go.
Yeah.
Just don't go on the blackout dates, which I think that is a concern because of all the, like you said, there's a whole bunch of people who have already bought tickets. So how are you able to put caps on the nights that you're going unless you make people reserve spots now? So
Yeah.
if you have your tickets already, then you can go to a special website possibly
And
reserve a date that you want to go.
And then when they fill up, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the website it says that they're fill up and you can't go on that date anymore.
Yeah.
And then people who are purchasing tickets will have to choose dates they want to go, which is kind of a normal situation when it comes to a lot of places. Like Scary Farm, you're buying a ticket, you buy a ticket for a specific date. You're not just kind of going.
Unless you have the season pass.
Yeah, but even that, who knows if that's something that they're going to implement this year?
They
because they already
probably can't.
They already said that. Knott's had already released the information saying, like, anybody who purchased the Scary Farm season pass for this year, it's good for next year.
Yeah.
So they could easily take it away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something that will go over well, but it's within their full right to be able to take away that privilege from people.
I think it's something they might have to do this year if they have the event.
The weird thing is that yesterday I saw that Universal is selling frequent fear passes in the UK.
What?
So that means that they are doing frequent fear. I don't know what capacity, how many days that includes.
Yeah.
But they are doing it.
That's crazy.
So I don't think frequent fear is as good as the Scary Farm pass.
Oh,
I
definitely
think.
not.
Not in the sense of like scope of price and money and value and things. But I don't know if it's the same thing as in like Scary Farm pass. You pay $150 and you get every single night.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what frequent fear is.
Yeah.
I think there is a level of frequent fear that is like that, but not every single one is like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some are like, oh, I go on all these certain days or all these certain days, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not super knowledgeable in that, so I'm sorry, everybody, for not having every single piece of information at my disposal right now. But, yeah, that is another concern, is limiting that capacity. But, you know, only time's going to tell at this point. I mean, there's all these rumors of having a second wave in October, which is right in the middle of all those events. And are we really going to have to go through all of this phased reopenings only to be shut down all again and shoved into our houses again?
I mean, it might.
Who knows? I mean, the reality is the reality, and I'm happy to do whatever it takes in order to play my part, in order to fix things and get things back to normal so that we don't have to have watered down events. But do we? I don't want to have to go through that.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to, like, potentially have normalcy and then not have it and have it be stripped away from us again. So I think that's a difficult thing for me to kind of wrap my head around, is that happening.
Yeah.
Especially around a season that you and I love.
Yeah.
You know, Halloween and the haunt season, and even outside of the normal haunts that we would go to, you know, think about the other events that we go to. Zombie Joe's, what's some other ones, like Ghost Train, you know, like a lot of these other little events that we would go to during the Halloween season just probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, just based on the conditions of what those experiences entail and what we shouldn't be doing. And I think in a state like California, I don't think they would allow them to open if it was an experience that was kind of based like that. I think in other states they might, but not here in California.
Yeah, not in California.
It's a little bit more strict here, which in all honesty, I'm fine with. I don't care about the more strict nature of California because I'm happy with trying to figure out how to fix this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rush the reopenings. I'm happy things are starting to reopen because then it kind of restarts everything.
Yeah.
Kickstarts everything. But by no means do I want to rush to it so that we can cause more problems.
Yeah. Safety is the main priority, and I think people are overlooking that because of how inconvenienced they are. I think they're overlooking the reason why we're doing all this. And maybe, all those people that are complaining, maybe they've been blessed to not know anyone who got sick or died, and good for them. But there's a lot of families out there with people who got really sick, and there's several families where several family members have died, and I think that people just need to look at the big picture and not just their small little unit that might so far blessedly be unaffected by this.
Yeah, and by pseudo connection, I mean, like, there's plenty of people that I interact with on Twitter on a daily basis that have lost people from COVID-19.
We know people,
and we
who
know
have.
people personally who have
Yeah.
lost people due to COVID-19. Thankfully, we haven't been personally affected by this yet.
Hopefully
because
never.
We hopefully never.
Because all our families being safe.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
being extremely safe and trying our best to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And kind of go out to the markets when we need to, wearing masks and socially distancing ourselves. I mean, like, even today we went and saw my sister, but we weren't anywhere near her.
Yeah.
We were far away from her.
Yeah.
And we had to be. But I mean, like, at a certain point, like, I need to see my family,
Yeah.
but I'm not hugging them. I'm not over there rubbing face with them and stuff. You
Yeah.
know? Like, I'm keeping socially distant. I'm wearing my mask. You're not touching my kid.
Yeah.
That's just life as it is right now.
Yeah.
So having to deal with those certain situations, it's just such a rough situation, because I know that these theme parks are a source of happiness for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically Disney parks. Like, that Disney parks around the world are such a source of happiness for people, and it's rough to see that not really being around.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Shanghai Disneyland is open right now, and they're
Mm-hmm.
doing limited capacity, social distancing. You have to wear a mask when you're in there. And ultimately, no matter what the news says, no matter what a lot of people say, we don't know what is going to happen when these parks reopen here.
Yeah.
We have no idea. We don't know if it's safe. We don't know if it's unsafe. We don't know if it's sanitary. Nothing. We literally know nothing, because we've never been in a theme park with these regulations put into place and these new systems of operation. So we have to wait and see how this all works together in order to get a good understanding of how Nikki's phone is going off.
Decline the call.
Good. I'm happy that you declined the call.
All of you are more important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But what I was saying was that, we have no idea how all those things are going to work together. So we have no idea. It's unpredictable at this point. I mean, based on the information we have, we know that gathering in big groups is not a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But how are theme parks going to alleviate that problem?
I just got anxiety over the thought of being on a roller coaster and
Being behind somebody?
the first person on the coaster being asymptomatic and just like screaming snot breath, just going backwards.
Screaming COVID everywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
they're crop dusting COVID everybody on that ride.
No, like I literally just I wasn't even listening to you. I was off in my own little paranoid.
This is Nikki's paranoid world that she tends to go off into.
Yeah, no, I literally just had a mental image of like people on Hagrid's and the first motorbike having like an asymptomatic person in it and just like, wah, just like all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's even that. Like, how are people going to, how are parks going to implement safety regulations on rides like that?
Yeah.
When you have an asymptomatic person.
Well, I guess everyone still has to wear the masks, but that doesn't stop everything. But it just, cause so far, honestly, I've been thinking about the parks like, okay, going in, using the bathroom, eating, but I didn't think about the rides until this very moment. You know?
I mean, you're gonna have to be sitting right behind somebody, or they're gonna have to block off a row.
They
and
might
do
be
every other row.
Yeah, every other row, or depending on the ride vehicle, every other car or something. Which shouldn't be that bad for flow through, because the the attendance cap. So it shouldn't be that bad if they do that. But I just got like a little panic attack in my head thinking about it.
No, in all honesty, like that's a good thing to talk about. And that's a
Yeah.
good thing that, I mean, not a good thing to be worried about, but that's an honest thing to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Is how safe do you feel on these attractions?
Like if I was going to a park, I'd skip the coasters, you know?
Yeah, but even think about it like this. Do you feel safe going on a ride like Transformers where there's 3 rows, 4 people in each row?
It would
If they don't do the middle row, would you feel safe sitting in a row with people that you don't know?
No, I wouldn't want to sit in a row with people I don't know. I'd want them in a different row.
So would they, I guess the question is, would they implement operations to say, okay, how many in your group? You only have 2? Okay, take the front row.
Yeah.
How many people in your group? You have 3? Take the back row. That's it.
Yeah.
Because they don't want people sitting next to each other who aren't in your immediate party.
Yeah. Single rider shouldn't be a thing. Like, you know,
Oh, say goodbye to single rider. That's
Yeah.
never happening again.
yeah, so there's so many.
Oh, well, not anytime soon, rather.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of factors to consider with parks in general.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a frustrating, scary time.
Yeah.
And like we had on our last episode, we had Rick West on kind of talking about Midsummer Scream and the cancellation, you know, going into the convention world.
Yeah.
And kind of how that's going to operate, because we've been to plenty of conventions and it's
You're packed like sardines.
you literally
I don't
are
see-
packed like sardines.
I don't see a world where Comic-Con is coming back in the form it is now
It'll be
in-
digital.
in
It'll
the
be
next
digital.
like few years. It can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until there's a vaccine,
Yeah.
until there's some way of preventing it or tracking it and all these things.
Yeah.
Till we're all microchipped by Bill Gates.
Okay.
That's the theory. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, that people think that that Bill Gates is trying to microchip everybody with vaccines.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Imagine spending a good chunk of your life giving away your own money, spending your own money on helping people, you know, get vaccines in other countries where they don't have it. Then all of a sudden, these stupid people who use Google think that you're like the villain.
You know what? I'm fine being in quarantine. The rest of the world can just be crazy. I'll just stay here.
we're just in here living our life with a 1-year-old playing with our TARDIS.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's fine.
Yes.
I don't want to deal with any of it anymore.
I don't want to deal with any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, conventions. It's just that's a thing of the past right now. Like a normal, typical convention.
Uh-huh.
You know, remember that Comic-Con we went to where I was freaking out because of how crowded it was?
You mean the last Comic-Con we ever went to and never will go to ever again?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I honestly feel like those conventions are a thing of the past for the time being. And then, as I was talking about before, like themed entertainment, you know, kind of events. You know, like Delusion.
Yeah.
You know, Delusion is one of those things that, you know, kind of flies under the radar sometimes, but is one of those things where it kind of thrives on personal interaction and being close to people.
Yeah.
You know, there was the one that we went to where that vampire plant lady thing, like basically
She was
just
all up on me.
She was all over you, like touching you and
Yeah.
holding you and breathing on you and stuff. Like that's
She was like a
can't happen.
vampire Ursula.
pretty much.
She was weird.
It was really funny because
Yeah.
you were really out of your element.
It was the one time in the whole show where I'm like in the back row, like, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me. And then they picked me.
Of course they're gonna pick you because you had the "don't pick me" face.
Yeah.
You always have the "don't pick me" face.
I know.
Because you don't get picked off more often.
Which is why I don't do interactive events very often.
Which is the reason why I never get picked, because I always have the pick me
Oh
face.
yeah, you're way too into it, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're not that guy.
That guy's probably getting off to it.
Yeah.
So let's not choose him and choose you lady in the back.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it.
At least they picked me and not the drunk girl.
Oh God, that was annoying.
That was terrible.
Okay, that's a different story. I'm sure we've already shared that.
Yeah.
But you know, like experiences like that can't happen anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how Halloween kind of faces a problem like this, because
Yeah.
you know, I do think that having events where people are getting scared will be cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is actually important to have an event like that, because it's the type of place you can go to and stare fear right in the face.
Yeah.
And death right in the face and be safe. And I think people need that right now more than ever. You know, I think people need environments like theme parks more than ever to kind of help themselves cope and live in an environment like this. Positivity in general. Because, you know, ever since being locked in home, you know, there's been spikes in depression and all these other issues that, you know, just were a byproduct of having to be at home. You know, I do think that there is a world that needs theme parks and themed entertainment and haunts right now more than ever. I don't know in what capacity those have to be. I'm not a planner. I'm not a scientist. I go off of the information the scientists give us.
Yeah. And common sense.
I go off of the common sense, yeah, but I mean, like, I have no idea what it's going to be like. And moving forward, you know, into next year, I think we'll see regulations loosen eventually as time goes on.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully eventually once we get, like, a vaccine and we all start getting group immunity because of the vaccine, and hopefully it'll just be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's a scary world right now. And it really interrupted a lot of things for everybody. Everybody had plans, weddings, you know.
Yeah, we had so many weddings get canceled, family weddings.
Exactly. So, I mean, COVID-19 isn't just disrupting theme parks and themed entertainment. It's life.
Yeah.
Period. Like, everything's on hold because of this right now. So, you know, all I hope for in the end, and when it comes down to everything, is that everybody stays safe, everyone stays healthy. You know, all the people that we know from all these different events, you know, from monsters to other bloggers to, you know, people who work in the actual theme park industry to people who work at the theme parks, you know, ride operators, you know, people who we have in contact because of Theme Park Duo and going to media events, you know, literally everybody. I want all those people to stay as safe as humanly possible because that's what I care about.
Yeah.
End all be all. And if them being safe and healthy means that I don't get to go to Disneyland or Knott's Berry Farm or Six Flags for a while, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that handily because that's truly all I care about is them.
Yeah.
Is the people, because when it's all said and done, we can only really count on each other, and we can only really hold those people dear and close to us because, you know, all these other things are just materialistic objects. People aren't. People aren't here forever. So we want to hold that closer to us than anything else.
Yeah. Well said.
Not that poetic, but
yeah.
got the meaning
you
across.
got the meaning across. People
I'm
got
not
the
a poetic
message.
person.
Yeah.
I am a blunt, dry person.
No, you're not.
Am I wet?
No.
Am I blunt and wet?
No.
I've
You're not.
stumped her.
You're not. Well, you just keep throwing awkward words at me. No, you're not. You're not.
Blunt and moist.
You're not poetic, but you are. You're emotional, but you're not poetic. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
Thank you again.
No. No. God, I can't find the right word. It's floating away.
You're not a wordsmith either, so don't
Oh,
worry.
no, I'm definitely not a wordsmith. I'm a fumbler.
You're extra fumbly when you have your drinksmith.
Yes. Why don't I have a drink right now?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Aww.
Drinksmith is something that we've been really into recently. Since quarantine, you know, we've had a couple more drinks.
Yeah.
You know, once Aaron goes to bed, have a glass of wine or like a smart margarita or something.
Yeah.
We found these things called Drinksmith, where it basically is a bottle where the bottom part has citrus and all the stuff on it, and then the top part of the bottle has the alcohol and the drink mix, and you twist it, and it mixes them together, shake it up, pour it over ice, and you have a mixed drink.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Damn good.
Yeah. It tastes like a bar drink, like a fresh drink you would get at a bar.
I've been texting Chris Zavala about it from UUOP.
Yeah.
Because he's super into making his own drinks.
Yeah.
Which eventually I want to move into that. But I was showing them these things, like, damn, that looks good. I was like, yeah, man, it's really good.
Yeah. Shout out to Drinksmith. Maybe they'll sponsor a show.
Who knows? Who knows? But right now, the sponsor of our show is Expedition Roasters Coffee.
A beverage which is also quarantine essential. We have the
Yes.
drinks at night and Expedition Roasters in the morning.
Yes, so maybe we should have one sponsor at the top and one sponsor at the end of the show. You know, just like the morning and the night drinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Expedition Roasters is the sponsor of our show currently. We've purchased plenty of coffee from them in order to keep us awake and functioning during this quarantine time.
Because we have a 1.5-year-old that wakes us up between 6 and 7 every
Were you
morning.
trying to say the butt crack of dawn?
No, the word butt fumbled its way out of my mouth, but I did not intend it to.
Buddy butt bongos.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Gabe just quoted.
I'm bringing in our personal life into this.
Yeah, Gabe just quoted a children's show on Disney Plus because that's all we ever watch anymore because we're at home with the 1.5-year-old. But bringing it back to the sentimental closure, which you were trying to bring to the show.
I completely lost.
Yeah, bringing it all back. This is a difficult time for everybody, and it's so hard. I'm trying to work from home. Gabe is
searching for work.
And, got laid off at the beginning of all this. And, we have a 1.5-year-old that's no longer in daycare who's here all the time with us. And it is hard. It is so hard. But it's also a blessing in disguise because we were two people who worked 24/7, standard 9-to-5 jobs. Erin was in daycare. We were losing a lot of time with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And, if nothing else, I'm trying to look on the bright side and say that these past few months have been so much quality time with Erin that we wouldn't have had otherwise. We've seen her develop. We've seen so many amazing things that she's done in this time. Our camera rolls on our phone are full of videos of cuteness.
Very much so.
And that's something to be happy about.
No, 100%.
Hopefully everyone else can look on the bright side. If your bright side is that the parks are reopening, I hope that you go out there and experience them as safely as you can. And that's all there is.
True. And if you're somebody who's having a rough time right now and is having a very difficult time, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Like I said at the beginning of this, we are all in this together. Reach out to people for help. Reach out to us for help.
Yeah.
We are always open and willing to listen to anybody who's having a rough time right now because you're not the only one. You are not alone.
Yeah.
We definitely have very rough days.
We have breakdown days. Everybody does.
Everybody does. It's completely normal. And don't think that it's not normal. So if you guys need help, reach out to somebody. If you need to talk, reach out to somebody. Like I said, we are more than happy to answer messages from people who are having a rough time right now, because right now that is what's most important, is that we get through this all together. And hopefully when everything is said and done, we can all go to our favorite pub, being that, or bar, whether that be Raglan Road or, Trader Sam's. Or anything else under the sun. And have a drink and relax and catch up and see each other's beautiful faces again and enjoy the parks and enjoy the haunts and enjoy the events that we always did.
Yeah.
Now that this is all said and done.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to this episode. I know that it is a little bit more of a serious topic, but like I said at the very beginning of the show, I do think that is a necessary conversation to have. And a necessary and cathartic conversation to have, because it is just our reality.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully it was cathartic for you guys to hear this information or talk about it or listen to it. Maybe it'll start and spark a conversation with other people to, hopefully wear their masks when they go out. Who knows? So with that being said, thank you for listening to the show. We are always really thankful of everybody who downloads and listens to the show, whether it be your first time or you're a veteran of the show all the way through seasons 1, 2, and 3. Thank you again. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star written review, or wherever you're listening, leave us a review. If you leave us a 5-star written review on iTunes, we'll make sure to give you a shout out on the show. And always remember, it is a free way to help us out, because it pushes us up higher in the standings and makes it easier for people to find us and enjoy us like you are right now. And if you wanted to reach out to us on social media, you can always find us at Theme Park Duo on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So we release all of the podcasts on YouTube. They're always there. We've been doing small videos here and there throughout quarantine that were just kind of like fun things.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably end up doing 1 or 2 more, probably at some point.
Boysenberry meatballs?
We can do boysenberry meatballs.
Yeah.
We had talked about doing the boysenberry pulled pork barbecue sandwich on YouTube.
We just did Instagram stories.
I just did Instagram stories because it was just significantly easier for me in the long run.
Yeah.
So we did that on Instagram stories, but every now and again we'll do that. And I think when I go to Knott's Berry Farm next to pick up some chicken, I'll probably do a vlog on that as well.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do that. So make sure you stay tuned on there. Click that little bell for notifications when we release stuff. That's how you know we'll be posting something.
Yep.
So you can always follow us there as well. And if you want to reach out to us over email, like I said, if you guys are having a rough time, you can reach out to us over social media, or you can email us if you just want to talk, get something off your chest, things like that. And you can email us at
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
And once again, thank you again, everybody, for listening to this week's episode. And always remember,
there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
See ya.
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.